Hello everybody and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast, episode 96. Hello, croeso podcast rhif 96. My name is Mr. Gareth Evans. Today, joining me is Mr. Henry Nipple Punisher Cooper.
Hey, what I get up to in my spare time is my business. No one else needs to be involved. I can do it solo or maybe with a friend if they're feeling generous.
Nipple paper cuts, that's all I'm saying.
I mean, that's all anyone needs to hear. No context, nothing, just that.
Don't mess with Cooper. So, for those of you who are joining us on our new channel, thanks for coming over. It's a bit quiet around here. 250 subscribers at the releasing of this first new video. I think what I'm going to do, for those of you who have noticed a bunch of new videos in your subscription feeds over the last day, maybe or two, that was just me releasing the back catalogue of podcasts to this channel. Please don't subscribe. That'll only happen once. It won't happen ever again, I promise. So the reason is I just want to backfill some of the content on this channel so that when new people come to this channel, they know that it's not just one video. There's a bunch of videos for them to go and see. And also it gets the watch time up too, because I think we need a certain amount of watch time. I think it's, I don't know, over a certain period. And then we can apply for monetization, which we don't have currently on this channel, which sucks. We'll be getting our custom URL soon too, within 30 days of launching the channel. So anyway, not that I'm asked to you, I'm just waffling now. So let's get into the running order firstly of today's show. We've got a short PS Plus update, specifically Days Gone coming to PC soon. I've got a segment which I've titled Crash Cracked After Crash Crashed. And I'll let you figure that one out.
How long have you been rehearsing that? How many times did you practice to get that right?
Oh, that's not just natural, man. It comes to me. Third section, the Discord questions from the Patreon community. After that, we've got the Triggered Fanboy Comment of the week, which is a doozy. The next segment is the YouTube comments from this week. Other YouTube comments, non-triggered specifically, but they could be triggered. We don't know yet. And then the last section is the Bad Dad Joke of the week. But before all of that, this is the opening Faff section, Henry. So, faff me, bro.
Yeah, there's no faff in the Daily Triple, so we get it all out of our system here. I mean,
what have you been up to? What have you been doing? You've moved your camera. Tell us why have you moved your camera?
You may be able to see it. Depends how I crop the video. There is a desk there. That's where I used to be, but now I have a bigger desk. It's a much bigger desk. Camera's now on that side, so I keep looking that way, like looking to talk, but there's nothing there. It feels like I'm a Shakespearean actor or something, just openly talking to the wind. But yeah, new desk, bigger, much more space. I don't need to like bump into my mic stand every time I move my fucking mouse. My only sort of worry, maybe I don't really know what the word is, but I've got my PC on the desk, and it's totally fine there. I've got plenty of space, but my only kind of sort of concern, I suppose is the word, is I don't want its really loud fans to bleed through onto the mics. That may end up moving. It depends how it sounds. So far this week, I've not heard it be too much of a problem. I think I've done 2 daily triples with it now, so that's been fine. But I'm enjoying the space. It doesn't look very pretty. Like it's very bare bones. It's, you know, monitor, keyboard, mic, the PC. There's no nothing interesting, nothing decorative, but it's good. It's big, and I like it. So
long as it works for you. From our perspective now, it looks like that face hugger's literally just crawling into your hair just because it wants to make a nest of your head.
Better spot. You may need to migrate. Although you get a little bit of a better view of my picture there, which is my alien playing pool with a predator. Which what more do you need in your life?
We can see that, but there's no way that's going to be in the crop, right?
Oh, probably not. To be fair. I'm going to have to redo my crop because I just copied and pasted the formatting over from podcasts from ages ago. So now I'm going to have to fucking fiddle with that. All of this extra work.
Yeah, I know. YouTuber problems. First world YouTuber problems. They're the worst. They're the worst ones to handle. So what have you been playing this week? Anything interesting or anything?
Just more Red Dead. It's still been a pretty slow week, to be honest. I am like half considering getting Monster Hunter because it does look quite fun. It's just not really a game series I have any love for, but it looks kind of fun, and it's people like it. Like Monster Hunter fans seem to really like it, so I'm like, maybe this will be the one to have a look at. Sold, you know, a decent amount. I think it was like 4 million copies in 3 days, and the best the series has ever done was Monster Hunter World, and that sold 5 million. So it's still, you know, well up there in in the series performance. But yeah, other than that, it's just been pretty, standard, slogging along, waiting for something. Although I think as of today, Outriders is now available on Game Pass for console, not PC. It's just the console one. So I might jump into that at some point, but I need to rebuy the console version because I just kind of migrated to the PC one. But other than that, now it's going on.
So how are you getting on with Red Dead for PC? Are you modding it at all to fast travel? That's one of my first things I would do if I was playing Red Dead on PC, because I can't stand how long it takes to get places. Have you just been living with the
I've kind of been living with it for now, because it took me a minute to get it to behave and optimize properly, because it was running really smooth, frame rate was really, really great, the resolution, everything was great, and then out of nowhere the trees just started misbehaving and flickering. It was a draw distance issue, but it was because I had something turned on which was supposed to solve that sort of problem, but ended up causing, I think it's called MXS something AA. It's meant to
anti-aliasing.
Yeah, it's for hair and draw distance, so it alters the resolution based on distance kind of thing. But it made the beards go all fuzzy and the trees pop in, so I just switched that off, and it fixed the problem it was meant to solve. So I am thinking about mods, but I haven't jumped into it yet. There's one which is called it's a combat changer, basically. It just makes it more immersive, more interesting and dynamic, where when you shoot enemies, they don't just stand there and be sponges. They'll sometimes fall over, or they'll hit the deck and they'll stay alive, but they'll bleed out over time, which I think just makes it a more
I love that.
Yeah, more immersive, compelling moment. And you can toggle certain settings and change them. So you can have it. I've seen some of the people's gameplay. You have it when you shoot them, they'll properly take several steps and then just tumble over really slapstickly, or you can change it where they just kind of and fall down a bit more naturally. Yeah. But it basically looks like they've connected the drunk animations to people when you shoot them. So you're basically shooting them with alcohol bullets, and then they get pissed and fall over.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun.
But beyond that, I've not explored mods too much. There's some fancy graphics ones that look quite nice, but then I'm pretty good as it is.
It looks nice enough. I mean,
exactly.
It's not,
I don't need to. I don't want to install something like that will then get in the way of putting on something else and create conflicts.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. But like I said, if I'm probably going to get it at some point on PC. But only when I'm sure that I won't be wasting my time on horseback for the majority of the
I figured
time
because we've got not a lot going on at the moment, now's a good time to waste my life on horseback.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's jump into the first segment of today, which is the PS Plus news.
I mean, it's barely news, really. I just wanted an excuse to talk about Days Gone, and I'm not really that sorry, because we haven't really spoken about it on the podcast, but we'll link back to that. The PS Plus games for this month, April, because it's April now. When the hell did it stop being March? I mean, it was yesterday. But I mean, what is this year? What is this year? As far as I'm concerned, it's still March 2020. What is going on in the world? I don't know. Anyway, as such, it's April now. There's new PS Plus games. Cool. It's not, it's not crazy exciting. It's just kind of whatever. But one thing that I think is quite interesting and worth talking about, at least somewhat, is the PS5 one, because there's some for PS4 and some for PS5, and there's no crossover this time. Sometimes you can get them both on either system, but not this time. Oddworld Soulstorm is coming to PS5, and that's on day one. It's just like a Game Pass situation. Just day one, have it for free with the the subscription model, so it's not technically for free, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting strategy. It seems to be working really, really well for Game Pass. We toot the horn of Game Pass all the time, and a lot of developers seem to like it because perhaps you're losing potential buyers, but you're getting your game in front of so many more people, so it's a lot more exposure, and they seem to still be making money doing that, because presumably Sony in this case and then Microsoft will be paying that developer to get that game onto Game Pass or PS Plus or whatever. Yeah. So it seems like a great idea to me. They have done it before with the most recent one I can think of, the most kind of relevant one, is Destruction All Stars, which was a PS5 exclusive, so that was kind of more of a reason for Sony to do it, but for Sony to put their own game on their platform type thing. Oddworld Soulstorm isn't. It's just made by a separate team, although it is a classic legacy franchise that started off on the PS1, so it's got, you know, a foundation within Sony. But with regard to Destruction All Stars, I haven't played it. I thought it looked quite fun. It's like a Rocket League-esque Jet Set Radio sort of type crazy fun thing. It was sort of Destruction Derby meets I don't really know. I don't really know what to describe it. It just looks like someone thought of about 4 different cool things, quote unquote cool, and smashed them together, just like they did with the cars. But I don't think it reviewed very well. No one really gave a shit, so maybe that's why they put it on PS Plus, because no one was going to buy it. But anyway, Oddworld, it's as I said, it's like a legacy franchise, and I don't think many people are jumping out of their seats to get to it. But it does have its fans because it's been around for so long. And it does look cool.
I'm sure it does.
Some of the new changes they make seem to make it a bit more interesting. There's like crafting now, and just more modern mechanics, but still keeping the classic sort of feel, which looks quite cool. It's
one of those games where if you've played it in the past, you've got a lot of nostalgia for it.
Absolutely.
And you're definitely interested in a new iteration, especially in a world where there's so many remasters and remakes and things like that coming, offering relatively little new. Whereas this is like an old game that will hit the nostalgia buttons, but provide a totally new gameplay experience too, or it should do at least
in theory.
So I think that's why a select amount of people will be very excited for this.
It's not going to, you know, top the charts or anything, or win awards, but it's for people who like Oddworld, and there are people out there, because again, it's an old franchise, classic, people love it, and I am one of them. I played Oddworld as a kid on PS1 years and years ago. I haven't played it since. I've thought about getting the remake a few times, but never got around to it. But I probably will jump in on Soulstorm because it looks pretty fun. Anyway, that's the PS5 game that's only on PS5. Then the PS4 ones. The least interesting one is Zombie Army 4 Dead War, which is basically the zombie sort of spin-off, I suppose you'd call it, from the Sniper Elite games. It's the Sniper Elite mechanics, but instead of being like a stealth game where you're a sniper, it's just a zombie game. And that's kind of all you need it to be. It's not trying to be nothing else from what I can gather. It's pretty confident. It's like, yeah, you like Sniper Elite, you like zombies, boom, there you go. While on the topic of zombies, which people keep telling me there's oversaturation with zombies, I still think zombies are cool as fuck, personally. The other game is Days Gone, but technically they're not zombies, they're freakers, it's fine. They're not the same thing. I almost call them clickers as well there.
It's easy to make zombies the antagonists or the bad guys in a game, because you're not going to piss anyone off.
They're a free enemy.
Russians were fair game at one time, and then it was like Muslims or whatever at one point. But now you're going to piss somebody off whenever you choose a real race of people. Zombies it's the same. Yeah, and you can do anything you want with zombies. Like you said, these aren't zombies; these are freakers. So you can give them like, you know, it's a zombie, but it's a different flavour of zombie.
Yeah, they do behave slightly differently, but
give them whatever behaviours or skills or whatever that you want. So I do like zombies because they're brainless, and you don't have to worry about killing them, right? Like in Last of Us, for example, and Uncharted and all that. You're killing people who've possibly got families, like for no other reason than they're being hired to protect this area or whatever. You kill them mercilessly and don't give it a second thought. Zombies are fair game as far as I'm concerned.
And the thing is, in terms of gameplay, it's not really mechanics, but like graphics and stuff, you can be fucking brutal to a zombie because it's a zombie. It's not a person. It doesn't feel anything. Well, it depends on your universe. Sometimes you like to think, oh, maybe there's a way we can get their humanity back. But no, zombies, you can do what you like to them and guilt-free, just violent catharsis, and it's what we need in these trying times. So Days Gone's coming to PS Plus for PS4. It originally came out back in 2019 to kind of like mixed reviews. It was like solidly average. I think it leveled out around a 70 something. I don't have it in front of me. I probably should have looked that up, but I'm not going to. And it's not the kind of game that's going to blow you away or reinvent the wheel, or as we like to always take the piss out of game reviews, it didn't bring anything new to the table.
All those cliches.
Yeah. But it's good at what it does, and it's damn solid if you want, you know, if you want a zombie game with a biker who's grumpy and mean, but there's a little more below the surface, then that's it. It ticks those boxes. Yeah. It had a bunch of problems at launch in terms of performance, a lot of frame rate issues and whatnot, but it's gonna come on the PS5 version. That's fixed, basically, because it's got a... I don't think it's fully uncapped, but you can do 60 frames per second on your TV, but then if you have it on a monitor, you can probably get a few more out of it if you've got a better refresh rate that's above 60 or something. But again, specifically, this is the PS4 version that's coming for free, and a few people on the thread that the Twitter post that I saw announced it were complaining because technically it's already available on PS5 through the PS Plus collection, I think they call it, which is like it's a whole suite of big successful PS4 games, a lot of first-party stuff that you get for free as part of the standard PS Plus subscription. It's a very good deal. Sounds awesome to me. But what people don't seem to get is, yeah, you've got it for free on PS5, but this is just the PS4 version, and a lot more people have PS4s than they do PS5s at the moment. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, yeah, it's not for you. You kind of lose out. The PS5 offering is arguably a bit shit, because you only get one game, and it's a game that, as we just said, probably not that many people are going to be super interested in. But it's a game coming day one, for free to a service that you probably have anyway. So I still think it's a pretty decent deal. But anyway, part of the reason I've actually called this out rather than just talking about PS Plus shit is we've not really talked about Days Gone coming to PC, because that's meant to be happening kind of imminently. We were both big fans of it, despite a lot of the aforementioned middling reviews. But it's meant to be coming to PC. That should mean we can eliminate most of its problems, although some of the PlayStation games that move to PC have had their own fucking issues, which is a different can of worms. But anyway, that's meant to come out at some point in spring, and it is now officially spring. Spring hath sprung. It was very, very warm yesterday. Today's a bit more mild, thank goodness. It was way too hot in here. But there's no release date yet. The obvious answer for a release date to me is that it will be out on the 26th of April, because that's the same day the original version launched back in 2019. Again, nothing to confirm that, but that is in spring, and it's just a matter of weeks away at this point. You can currently wishlist it on Steam, so it's not going to like Epic Store or anything exclusively like that. You're fine there. And a recent tweet from Ben Studio added a few features you can expect for the no, not the PS5 version, the PC version. PC. Goodness me. Ultra-wide monitor support, unlocked frame rate, improved graphics, full achievement support, and more. Who knows what more means? Probably, I don't know, they've added a new bush, maybe.
A couple of bushes here and there. A couple of different freakers. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
We'll see.
But yeah, they seem to be pushing it a little more. They've been sharing more stuff to remind people that it's out. It's not the first time they've told people that they can wishlist it on Steam. So I do feel like perhaps a release out announcement is soon. I mean, it has to be. Spring only lasts for so long, and then it'll be into summer, so they need to get it out soon. But I'm really keen on it. I'll probably buy it. Well, I mean, not necessarily day one, because A, I already own it on PS4, and B, wait for reviews to make sure that it actually runs properly, because, as I said, several of the previous PlayStation/Sony games to come to PC have had their own suite of problems. So they recently did, well, recent-ish, they did Heavy Rain, which originally launched in February 2010, and then in June 2019 it came to PC, and same with Detroit Become Human, which was originally May 2018 and then to PC in December 2019. Those are both not Sony published, no, Sony owned
first
games.
Party.
Yeah, first party. They are by Quantic Dream, so they then self-published it to PC after there was it was a timed thing, I believe. They had a timed deal with them, and then they were able to put it on PC. Death Stranding was a big one, but again, that's Kojima Productions has a close relationship with Sony, but they're not owned by Sony. So then that was published by I think it was 505 Games when that came out on PC. So that was quite recently. That was originally November 2019 on PS4, and then July 2020 for PC. And then the biggest one, the most perhaps controversial, but at the same time worth celebrating for certain people, depending on your point of view.
Noteworthy.
Yeah, is Horizon Zero Dawn, first-party game developed by Guerrilla Studios, originally released in February and March in 2017, and then came to PC in August 2020. So that's the big example of a Sony-owned and in-house built game moving to PC, and it set the precedent even more. And Days Gone is going to lead a new wave, supposedly, according to what's his face, one of the Sony bosses, Jim Ryan. He said recently that Days Gone's going to be the one to come next, and then after that it's going to be a bunch more. Who knows what they'll be? It was in half an interview. I'm not even sure I'd call it an interview. It was with GQ, and I reported on that a while ago. And he just sort of drops it very matter-of-factly. They start the article of what was supposed to be like an interview. They start the article being like, yeah, he just said a bunch of stuff like out of nowhere that we weren't expecting. So he just had to make something of it that wasn't just like they expected a more formal sit down question and answer. Oh, what are your thoughts on the year? Have you had a good 2020? How's Foster's Fever treating you? That sort of wishy-washy bollocks. But then he comes out and said, yeah, we're doing a new VR. All of our PS4 games are coming to PC at some point. But yeah, there's not really anything else newsworthy about it. I just think Days Gone coming to PS Plus is a good thing. Well, games coming to PS Plus altogether is a good thing. More people can play it if you subscribe to that. Sometimes it's a bit of a shit deal, but I think Days Gone's great, so you're getting your money's worth with that one. And coming to PC is... I want it. I need it now.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting development in terms of the strategy that Sony are taking with their games. I guess the Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human, Death Stranding were a bit of a experiment to see how they would fare on the other platforms, because they hadn't done that in the past. Horizon Zero Dawn was the first big hitter, as in first party Sony game, and then Days Gone, and then the promise of more to come in future. It does raise a couple of questions for me as primarily a PC player who doesn't own a PS5 now, who has played these games on PS4 in the past. It makes me question whether I need a PlayStation 5 in future. With the promise of the games coming in future to PC. I mean, I've always been a mouse and keyboard player, and I always struggle when it comes to playing on keyboard. And it's one of the things that I'm okay with the I guess the open world action third person perspective games like Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, God of War. They're all right for me on the controller. I can get behind. I mean, aiming is it's always a point of frustration for me. If I got a choice though, I'll always go mouse and keyboard. And if it's a question between buying a PlayStation 5 for a few £100 and playing the games with in my opinion, a very frustrating controlling mechanism, or waiting a year and a half to 2 years to play the game on my preferred platform, I'll take the latter option always. So it definitely disincentivizes me to think to purchase a PlayStation 5 in future. And maybe that it raises that question: are they screwing themselves a little bit with people like myself who are in the same boat, who wouldn't choose to play games with a controller, who have got a PC are capable of playing these games? Are they doing themselves out of those sales of PlayStation 5 units? Considering that scalpers are still prevalent, and I find the availability of PlayStation 5 consoles is still very scarce. So the fact that sorry, I'm very concerned that my laptop's I've got 5%. So can we pause it here?
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got 5%. I forgot to plug my laptop in, so give us a second. Lost disaster averted. If it had shut down, I would have lost the audio, but we're good.
There we go.
Right, so what was the same?
Undervaluing the PS5.
Yeah.
Or devaluing.
Yeah. So whether that has an overall effect on the amount of PlayStation 5s that they'll sell in the long run, yet to be seen.
I mean, I think they're in a position where they can kind of afford to lose it, and presumably the idea is that the amount of sales they make on PC for games like Days Gone and Horizon, or whatever else comes next, maybe Bloodborne, maybe Last of Us, maybe God of War, something like that. I think their idea is that that will offset the potential cases where you're not buying a PS5, or I don't buy a PS5, or something like that. And there will always be people who prefer the console experience, the more casual experience. Not everyone is that fussed about the technical side or exceeding frame rates or anything, although I will absolutely admit I'm totally a frame rate snob now. I knew it was coming. I knew it would happen. But
it's happened. Yes, finally, Henry, we've seen the light.
It's once you do it and then try to go back, it just makes me want to be sick. I was like,
it's like you're saying,
60,
once you go,
60,
once
like,
you go black, you never
fine.
go back, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the phrase. I was going to try something a bit more elegant, perhaps, with steak and burgers, but yeah, once you go back, you never go back.
Yeah.
Looking at 30 frames per second, I'm just like, why are you so slow? Why can't you just... When I was moving my my PC around and everything, I accidentally plugged the HDMI port into one of the other HDMI ports, and that one only does 60 hertz, and I was like, what is wrong with my screen? There is something really wrong. Went into the settings, and I was like, why am I running at 60 hertz? That's not acceptable. Well, I'm not having this anymore. I don't have to put up with that. And then immediately switched it, and I was like, oh, there we go. What a breezy life now. Everything's smooth.
I love that. Yeah. I love your transformation, man. It's like a whole character arc.
It's not at all surprising. Like, this shouldn't be news. It happens to everybody.
Wow. Someone should make a game about that, or write a story about that. That's pretty funny.
Well, especially in a game like Days Gone, where they're sending potentially hundreds of freakers at you at once. You need all the frames you can get, and you need enough that can be sacrificed as well. Like, because that's going to certainly tank your frame rate. Like it did a lot on the PS4. So you're going to have more than enough frames, so then you can afford to lose a few.
Yeah, I mean that, and this is one of the main examples of how the my control method frustrates me in the game. Like, I love the idea of these freaker hordes, and I love the you got that arcade mode where you just like survive as long as you can on these
that was great
waves of freakers. I would love to be able to do that and not feel like I've got two hands tied behind my back and that I've got I'm impeded in some way by the way that I can control. If I had mouse and keyboard, I would have a lot more fun playing that game and that game mode and taking on the hoarders. I just feel like it's just frustrating, and that's just me. I know I'm a bit of a snob. I recognise that it's not for everybody, but aiming with a controller is inferior, and I don't care who wants to fight me or argue with me on that. I'll take all comers. I will. Mouse and keyboard is the better solution, is the better way, and there's more freedom. And don't give me no aim assist bullshit. You got aim assist that can help it. No, it's just not as good. It's just not as good. Bottom line, everyone knows it, and if you deny it, then you're lying to yourself.
I think it does depend on what the game is, because on PC I will probably play most things on mouse and keyboard. Certainly, like first-person shooters and that. The variants will be in third-person games. So I'm playing Red Dead pretty much all with a controller. I've done a bit with mouse and keyboard, but the controls are so shit as it is. And I punched my horse the other day, and I really like my horse. It's been the same one for it. Like, I bought it at the beginning. She's great. She's my girl. My girl. And I punched her, and I felt so guilty. And then she twatted me, and I nearly died. And I tried it for a bit on mouse and keyboard, because obviously the freedom of aiming is just, it's undeniable. But it still wasn't enough of an improvement over a controller in terms of movement and button interactions and that sort of stuff that I felt it was worth it. But for Days Gone, I feel, I mean, it might change, but I feel like I'll probably do mouse and keyboard for using the mouse on hordes and whatnot, because that's just better. Like, you can just already see how much more freeing that'll be to be able to just hose them. You barely need to aim anyway for the hordes. It's just point and shoot for as long as you can, then run away.
And not just that, when they are pursuing you, you have to be able to turn around quickly, assess the situation, where they are, where you're going, the environment around you, in terms of, because you can set off traps and things like that. So you need to be able to look really quickly, and that is another benefit of being able to use a mouse, because you can turn so much more quicker than you can on a controller. I'll
probably drive the bike, or ride the bike, I suppose, with a controller rather than a mouse and keyboard, because I think I did that for Cyberpunk. I did all of the movement in first person movement with mouse and keyboard, and then I drove with the controller. It just feels more natural having the analog stick to be more precise, rather than a set of keys which are either on or off. There's less precision in that way. But yeah, that's kind of the end of it, I suppose the only other sort of relevant thing linking back to Horizon Zero Dawn is that the former boss of Guerrilla Games who made Horizon Zero Dawn, Herman Hulst, he is now as of November 2019, so it's been a little while. He's head of PlayStation Worldwide Studios. So I mean, his former studio's game was the first party game to make the jump. So expect more. Like that's very much opened the gates to Sony games coming to PC, and this certainly isn't the end, especially since Jim Ryan literally said there's more coming. Don't know what yet, but I mean, E3 season, obviously it's not really happening, but E3 season's coming up quick, man. Like, as I said, it's April now. It'll be June before too long, and then they'll probably get a bunch of stuff announced for PC from PlayStation. So who knows what's going to happen? Yeah,
we'll see. There's not a lot on the horizon this year, really, in terms of AAA games.
Is that a deliberate pun on the horizon?
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see how the Horizon Zero Dawn, obviously, but we see how it pans out. I haven't got a lot of expectation for big games this year.
It's a bit of a slow
outside of the obvious Deathloop and like Horizon, which I probably won't get. I haven't got a PlayStation 5, so is that coming this year? Is it on next year? We don't know.
It's supposed to be this year. Same with God of War. They've got tentative 2021 dates, but I have serious doubts, especially for God of War. I don't think that's coming this year.
No,
but that's fine.
We'll see.
Again, we'd rather they delayed it and rather have a fixed game. I feel like we have to mention that every single time now. Just to clarify to anyone watching, don't release shitty games. Just wait like five minutes and you fix it. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Activision has screwed its players again, and not in order to line the pockets of its CEO this time. What they did is they released a game with an always online requirement. Luckily though, hackers solved the issue within 24 hours. So let's get into the meat of the story then. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, was released in 2020 on the consoles. It came to PC on Friday the 26th of March, and it debuted exclusively on Blizzard's Battle.net app, so it wasn't on Steam or any of the... only on Battle.net. However, the DRM system that they used requires that you always connected to the internet to play. So it's not like an intermittent check, so periodically it'll check whether you're online. No. It's not just a single check when you boot up the game. No. You need to always be connected to the game, and the moment your connection drops, your game stops. And the most important point here is that the game is single player. There's no multiplayer component of this game. It's a single player game. And to rub salt in the wound, the servers were down on launch day for a couple of hours, meant that people who bought the game weren't able to play because there was a problem on Blizzard's end, which is absolutely
that's so fucking funny,
inexcusable.
Jesus Christ,
so ridiculous. It perfectly highlights the problem of doing this. This is a single player game. There's no multiplayer component. There's nothing multiplayer in it whatsoever. And this is how they screw the players, right? This is what happens, and if it happens on day one, it just underlines the whole issue, and it tells you as a purchaser that you're an absolute mug. They've sold you this game. There's no reason for them to deny you to play it or to put this DRM requirement in, but they do it anyway. So bad.
And it's Crash. It came out like it's already out. It's been out. This is a staggered release. It came out on PS4 and everything ages ago. And now they're just doing it on PC. It's not like anyone's gonna be leaping off their chairs to pirate it or whatever, because it's already been out and they've done.
Yeah, and the thing was with apparently some of the console version, you don't. The physical console version, you don't need that. There isn't this requirement to be always online either. So you're getting screwed.
Yeah.
Compared with the console players by buying it on PC. It's you think of all the players who are playing these days who aren't in the country or don't have the luxury of having a decent stable internet connection. Never mind the data caps that some people still have on their internet. And they've highlighted there themselves the problem when the service goes down. the servers go down, you haven't got your game anymore. It's gone. Yeah. This is a single player game. You don't need to be the only reason they do it is to try and stop piracy or whatever. However, this disincentivizes people from legitimate people from buying the game because it just adds a load of problems, gives them a load of problems in order, they can't play it because of bad internet or service outages, and it also incentivizes piracy because you get a better version or a better playing experience if you're a pirate.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. How did they not see that?
All it does is punish the let's say the good consumer, the ones who don't pirate, the ones who do play by the rules. You're the ones getting the shitty deal, even though it's kind of like preaching to the choir. We're already on your side, and you're fucking us over. And I think maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but since lockdown started a year ago, and more and more people have been stuck at home rather than going to the office, my internet's tanked. Like, it used to be way better than it is, and now it's it's fine. It's usable, and I can still do things, but it's very in and out, and comes and goes, and speed is all over the bloody place. So, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Like, now is the time where I feel like so many more people's internet is not bad, but unstable,
inconsistent. Unstable. Yeah, that's a good point. Some people I've seen on social media justifying this by saying, "Oh, everyone has an internet connection these days. What's the big fuss?"
I hate that argument. It's when people say, "Oh, physical games are just get rid of them. Everyone has an internet." That's just factually untrue. You do because you're fucking talking about it on Twitter. Not everyone does, and certainly not everyone has good internet or internet that they can even use. Like you said, people have data caps or limits, especially a game like Crash, which is a very kid-friendly game. So a lot of kids will be able to play it, and you can put internet blockers on stuff so that your kids aren't overusing it, and that's going to fuck up the game. Even if they're they've done all their homework and cleaned their room, they could still get screwed over.
Yeah. And the data cap situation is a real problem for a lot of people. They don't want to leave the internet connection on the whole time. You never know what your computer's doing in the background, or installing updates on this and that, or you just don't want to run that risk of going over your cap or just using data when you don't need to be. So ideally, you just shut that shit off when you're not using it and save as much data as possible. With this game having to be online the whole time, it's inexcusable. It's very anti-consumer, and it's trying to force people to buy the game or trying to ensure that piracy doesn't happen. But the irony is that it incentivizes piracy by doing it, and that's what they're missing.
I mean, no one likes piracy. Like it's not something that is quote unquote good or the right thing to do, the legal thing to do, whatever kind of various stages of morality you want to apply. But in this case, and many cases like this,
almost justifiable, right?
It's not just, oh, I can understand that. It's more, that actually seems like a good idea. Like you're saying, it's incentivizing it, and this isn't the first time it's happened. It happens all the fucking time. Sometimes DRM can be fairly painless and not as much of a pain in the ass, but almost every single time it just creates problems.
Yeah, I mean, Battle.net is notorious for requiring an online connection, always online connection. There's games like StarCraft 2 and Diablo 3 that have offline content, but it's inaccessible without an always online connection. Again, it's like Battle.net are one of the worst, the most egregious things for doing this, if you ask me. It's interesting to note that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, which released last year, I think, Black Ops Cold War and Modern Warfare, which are on Battle.net 2, they have not been cracked since they've released, but I think the reason for that is they all have online shops that sell microtransactions, and I think if they were cracked, obviously, there'd be a whole lot of... it's a morally, for the people who are cracking, it's slightly more ethically questionable thing to do, right? However, because Crash 4 doesn't have any online content at all, it's all single player game, and it's got no online shop, no microtransactions. It's one of the games.
Let's for now, we put that in there for now.
Yeah. For now, at least they've kept to their word for now. This apparently rubbed the hacking groups up the wrong way and got them motivated. So by midday Saturday, the very next day, they'd already cracked the game and released it. So that is just, I love that. I love that. They're like Robin Hood or something, isn't it? It's like doing right for the community. Although it's technically not ethical, not legal, but it's the right thing to do, right? Yeah, it's the right thing to do.
And it happens every time. The DRM never lasts very long. Someone is able to crack it, always.
I think the crack itself replaces a single file in your vanilla file directory and allows you to play without an online connection, which is absolutely beautiful. And the fact that they did it for the people, the crackers did this not for people to be able to pirate the game, but they did it for the benefit of the people who bought the game and legitimately want to play it offline. So that's the difference here, right? That's why what they did is so much better.
And if it only changes one file, that's relatively uninvasive, and it's not going to fuck up the game's systems or anything like that. 'Cause that's part of the risk of piracy and anything kind of like that. It's not just, oh, it's illegal, it's a bit morally ambiguous, let's just say. It's the potential risks it poses to your system and the product. And if you do get caught or whatever because it's broken or been done in a way that's really obvious to detect, you'll lose the game, they'll take it away from you, and you've lost everything. But this seems to be quite a simple fix, presumably, if it's just one file. I mean, maybe it's a very complicated and big file, I don't know. But it seems to have been done in the cleanest way possible. But perhaps that's just an indication of how shit this DRM implementation was and how half-assed it was if they were able to smash it open that quickly and just change one little thing.
Well, at the very least, it's not de novo. I mean, de novo is such a horrible program that apparently they're bringing to PlayStation, or they've offered it to PlayStation in the future too. But it's one of those programs that will eat at your system resources and make your game perform worse on the system that you're playing on. So that is a lot worse. The fact that this just online only uses your internet connection to authenticate should technically mean it's a bit better than de novo. However, it's still questionable, and it's still anti-consumer. It's still putting the company it's the company's misbelief, right? The company believes it's going to serve a certain purpose, but in doing so, it pushes people the other side towards piracy, which is the deep-set irony here. But they're not doing it for the customers. They're doing it to try and look after their own interests. Again, it's a theme that permeates the whole entire games industry, and it's always an issue. But my thing I always say is you don't have to put up with this. Just don't buy these games. There's so many better games. If you don't believe or don't abide by these business practices, you don't have to. You don't support them by buying the games. Go somewhere else. Find an indie developer you want to support. Find a creator or a developer or a publisher that act ethically and morally towards the consumers that you want to. That the way that they behave, you want to promote that. So you don't have to buy these games. And maybe piracy is an option now. I'm not saying you should do. I'm not saying it's right, but you're probably able to do that now with this new crack. That's all I'm saying.
It's an option, and you can make that choice.
Yeah,
it's nothing to do with us at all. Definitely not.
Yeah, it's not our responsibility. It's your choice. We're not telling people to do that. But there you go. That is that story. I like that story in that there was a hero, there was a villain, obvious villain, there's an obvious hero, and the hero's doing it for the good of the community. And this is time and time again, gamers get together. Don't piss off a nerd, man. Don't piss off the nerds.
Don't do it. They're probably smarter.
I'll screw you.
Or they're probably smarter, or at least as smart as the people who put the shit in there in the first place, and they've got the time to fucking do it.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
I think the thing for me with this one, excuse me, is is that it's Crash. It's something nice, and most people really like Crash. He's a cute mascot. He's been around for decades. If it was Call of Duty or something, we'd just be like, oh, it's fucking Call of Duty bullshit. Well, it's online anyway.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? A game like that, which people generally don't like, or the public perception's not very good. It's like when Nintendo does something bad with Mario. It's like, he's Mario. You're meant to be the safe space. You're meant to be good, and you go and pull some shit like this. It's just sours everything.
A lot of the appeal of Crash is that it is a legacy game, right? It's a game which has been about for years and years and years, and the older people of my generation will remember playing Crash Bandicoot back in the day, back on the original systems or whatever. So doing this to that group of players, that demographic, that isn't going to go down well, and obviously it hasn't. And action has been taken. So I count this as a win for the community, that's for sure. And hopefully it's a bit of a lesson to the to Activision Blizzard, because, like I said, the other games with microtransactions haven't been cracked as quickly, haven't had as much attention from the crackers. The moment they do this, they pull this shit, it's just an extra step of bullshittery that they've gone to, and crackers were like, nah, we're doing something about this, and they've done it, and we won on this occasion, I guess. So there you have it. Let's move on to the next segment of this podcast, which is the community segment. This is where we thank everybody for supporting our content, and I read out all the people, exactly the opposite. I read out all the people who've pledged in the last week. However, it's 2 weeks now because I forgot to do it last week. So all the people who support us over on patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, or press the join button here on YouTube. We have 4 signups or 4 increased pledges. The first one is 1 Red Goblin 111 Red Goblin 111, and they have pledged $14.85 per year. So thanks very much, Mr. or Mrs. Red Goblin. $10 per month was pledged by Daniel Gnatz. Daniel, dude, appreciate that. $5 per month pledged by Robin Marshall. Again, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And then an increased pledge from $1 to $5 was edited by Gary Mosley. We really do appreciate all these additional pledges, because we struggle to pay the bills. It's difficult. The reason why we're moving the podcast to a different channel is because we want to be able to hopefully get a bit higher views on the main channel, because the theory goes that the podcast is upsetting the watch time on the main channel and restricting our content from being recommended in the algorithm. So that's a direct result of YouTube screwing us on the financial side. That's why we're doing this. So any help that you guys can give us in order to keep our operations going will be gratefully accepted. Either join on YouTube memberships over on the main channel, or head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming, and as a reward you get early access to the podcast, and you get to ask us questions for the podcast, and get the satisfaction of knowing that you're helping us out. With that in mind, questions for the podcast, we've got a bunch of them this week, half a dozen, not as many as last week. So let's jump in. Dayoth is the first one. Henry, would you like to do the honours?
Of course, it's a long one. That's always my responsibility, right? Right.
You copied and pasted. You could have put a short one first.
Right. Well, we feel like we need to make a rule. If you're about to post a comment, check how long it is. If it's maybe over 3 sentences, let's say. Although some of you motherfuckers don't know how to use full stops. Then just wait until someone else puts up some dumb... We've got a couple of dumb questions later anyway, so you'll get all those easy ones. Right. Dayoth, given the option, do you play the good guy or the bad guy in KOTOR, Mass Effect style, so Knights of the Old Republic or Mass Effect style RPGs? And of all soft and hard moral choice systems, which games do you think did it best? I think the Witcher series handled consequences of choices about as good as any I've seen so far, but done right, I've seen some great moments in the good-evil dynamic systems too, especially Mass Effect 2, and curiously enough, Star Wars The Old Republic MMO. Knowing you're committing a good or an evil action in the right moments when you're consistently the other side of it can feel awesome when done right, and you have a strong sense of your character's motivation and personality. Okay, so what are good and evil mechanics and stuff? Who did it best? What do we like about it? Generally, I don't like to. I always want to be bad, but I just find myself being good all the time. If there's an option, I often think good behavior leads to more stuff, because if I'm more amenable to the NPCs or whatever, if I'm nice to them, they'll give me another quest, because we've got a bit of a relation, and maybe I'll unlock something else to do with them later. So I feel like sometimes that's my main motivation. I'll just say yes to everything. I don't want to help you fucking find your cat, but yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, it makes sense to be the good guy, because like you said, you do get the better, you get a better feeling from being a good guy. You get a better responses from the characters, you get the positive responses, you get the positive rewards. Yeah, it makes sense, especially in the first playthrough. In the second playthrough, if you want to be the bad guy, whatever, it leads me to dislike the dual moral, choice. Paragon or Renegade, good or bad. It's like, it doesn't really mean anything. Like, it depends on your morals to begin with, whether the choice is actually bad. But the game coming out and making that choice for you, no, this action is going to be bad. You are a bad guy if you do this action. I think that's a little bit, pre-conscribed. I'd rather the moral choices in a game to be dependent on whatever faction. So if you're being an arse towards a certain person, then it won't mean that you're a bad person. It'll mean that your standing with them reduces, right? That makes a lot more sense. Because if you're an arsehole to one person and then you meet a totally new person, how do they know you're an arsehole? Like, they don't. They take you at face value. Yeah,
I like it when in order to gain something with someone else, you have to lose something with someone else.
Yeah. Cost pay.
I think that there should be consequences and punishment for perhaps making the wrong choices. But I still, generally, I'm the good guy, because I like to think I'm quite a good person, and often it leads to more stuff. But I'm not like 100% Paragon all the time. I'm not, this pure angelic person. I like to think of myself as quite like a vengeful spirit type thing whenever I'm... Red Dead's a good example, because there's very, very slim morality there. But I'm pretty much always good and friendly to everyone. But then if someone says something rude, they're getting antagonized to fuck. And then they'll probably pull their gun on me. And then what am I going to do? Kill them? Yes. And then am I going to stab their dead body? Yes. And then am I going to loot them and take their body and put it on a train track? Yes. They shouldn't have called me I don't know, damn, you're ugly or some shit. They're getting killed. That's just the way it goes.
Are you more likely to perform an evil act if you know you're not going to get away with it? So if you know your reward's going to be bountiful and you know there's no repercussions, would that, if you're playing a good character, you want to be good the whole time, you know this isn't going to affect anybody or anything, but you've got this super shiny like weapon or something that you can get hold of just by killing this one guy. Nobody knows, nobody's going to find out. Are you more likely to do it then?
I think it depends on how much I'm like role playing, how much I'm trying to get into the kind of space of who I think this character is, or if it's just a vessel for me. If it's a vessel for me, I'll just fuck it, I'll do what I want. I'll steal that sword, I don't give a shit. But if it's because what do I lose? My life stays the same. But if I'm trying, like Arthur Morgan, linking back to Red Dead, I think I kind of know the kind of person he is, or at least how I am playing him as such. So I know certain things he wouldn't do, and I think that's the morality system in gameplay is very slim, and which is kind of annoying because it's actually a really important part of his character. His redemption in this Red Dead Redemption is figuring out, is he a good man, or is he just bad? Is he just bad and he just does bad things for fun? And they don't really, I mean, they kind of, it's a basic system because I suppose they would argue, oh, we just want you to feel it. We don't want you to tell you whether you're good or evil, but then you've still got a good or evil fucking slider.
Yeah.
And that's another point on that specific slider. The higher your honor is, the more discount you get in shops. So I can buy stuff if I'm good. So
yeah,
I'm more likely to be good.
That really takes me out of the immersion. That does, because how did the shopkeepers know your reputation or how many evil people you've killed, especially if it's been done in a different county or something? You just come to this, you're new to this one area, and it's like, hi, pleased to meet you. Oh, by the way, you get a discount because I heard you're a good guy. It doesn't really, doesn't wash for me. Doesn't wash.
I think one thing I did like that Red Dead does, both the first one and the second one actually, quite subtly, is your sort of basic interactions with NPCs change. Like, if they know you're bad or low honor, again, it's a bit, how do they know? But I suppose the idea is you've got a bit of a reputation around, got a reputation around these parts. They'll react to you differently, and it's a very minor thing, but I like, that's immersive for me. When if you tip your hat to them in, I think, Red Dead 1, you'll say, "Ha, miss," or whatever, if you've got good honor, but then if you're bad, it's sort of automatic version of the greet and antagonize response. It will do it based on your honor, and I think that's actually kind of more interesting. It gives you a bit less control, I suppose. So there's pros and cons to it, but I just thought that was a cool way to do it kind of behind the scenes without you really knowing. Yeah.
Can I just say that your impressions of Arthur Morgan and John are pretty damn spot on.
Well, Arthur's a little easier because he's just, you know, just kind of grumble. John, you gotta scream a little bit more. You know, I can't do that much because that hurts.
Wow. Have you ever tried being a voice actor for games? I think you could.
I watched I think it was.
This channel goes down the pan. You've got
that's my
fallback on there.
I watched. It wasn't like an interview. It was more like a Comic-Con kind of panel. And, you know, the stars are there, and then people go up and ask questions. And one guy, it was just like a 10-second clip, and the guy's big important question, he just asked him to say Lenny, and then what's his name, Roger Clark, just goes Lenny, like for the whole room. It really cracked me up though. It made my day. Just a little 10-second clip. That was good fun.
Sweet. Okay,
there is actually a follow-up question, which is much more important and much more relevant. And another question again from Dale. And another question, possibly the most important and thought-provoking query you have ever and will ever be asked. Boxers or briefs? Boxers or briefs?
I know the correct answer to this one, and it's boxers.
Yes, it's not just the correct answer; it's the only answer.
It's the correct answer. It's the correct and only answer.
I think briefs are kind of an old thing. They're an older generational thing. So I think there is a bit of a thing there, but I would be interested, does anyone in our modern world, you know, you're technically a millennial because you're from the 80s, but like this sort of millennial period.
No, I think 81 is the cutoff, and I was born at the very end of 1980.
Just outside it then.
So technically, you know, I'm not a millennial.
But yeah, anyone, let us know in the comments, as a man of, you know, adult age, do you wear briefs anymore? Does anyone you know wear briefs? Because I don't think they do.
No.
I mean, I don't exactly wander around looking at people's underwear, so maybe it's a secret that I'm unaware of. But
I think
it's a bit archaic.
You have to go boxers because of the problem of Betty Swallocks. I think you need some air. You need some ventilation.
Freedom.
You need
not too much freedom.
You need some.
Not too much. You need a little bit of something so you don't bounce around too much and flap all over the joint. But you got to have enough.
You don't get like an a flannel type.
Yeah. No.
You need some sort of.
Going commando wasn't an option, and I feel like perhaps it should be.
Going commando, yeah, that's the third option. I'll still take boxers.
I mean, I'm sure some of you out there like to wear other kinds of underwear, maybe ladies' underwear, and that's fine, man. You do you.
Or the barat.
That's none of my business.
G-string.
Yes, thing? Yeah. What do they call them?
That's an option.
I think Americans call them banana hammocks, but I've heard them called here the mankini. But
mankini.
Again, let us know, what does Borat wear?
Let us know down in the comments. Thanks for the questions, Day Off. I appreciate that, dude. Let's move on to Raspberry's contribution. Quick, easy, yes or no question. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your favourite colour of the alphabet?
What's my favourite colour of the alphabet? Well, this is quite a complex question. I think I need to do a full academic paper to discuss to what extent my given colour is my favourite of the alphabet. I am also a little bit upset that it says colour without a U, but we'll skip past that.
Wash over that, yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what is my favourite colour of the alphabet? I'm going to have to go with banana. I think that's my final answer.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, my favourite colour of the alphabet is banana.
On a scale of 1 to 10, my favourite colour of the alphabet would be P.
P?
P is my favourite colour of the alphabet on a scale
of 1 to 10. The letter, the vegetable, or piss?
I'll leave that answer to you to decide. But Raspberry, thanks for the question. It was a perplexing one. It's probably one of the most difficult questions we've ever answered here. But you got answers out of both of us. I hope that we've met your expectations. Let's move on.
Right, the next question. Oh, it's from Durlock. Raspberry's question made me think, oh god, this is going to be another deep, the bizarre question. Like, if you have to pick one, which of the senses would you like to add into video games? Smell, taste, or touch? How did that prompt you? That's the most bonkers question. This one's actually reasonably sensible.
Yeah, the question that's raised there is, Durlock, how did you get to that from that previous question? There's no
What's
link
your
there.
train of thought?
It's not even loosely tied. There's no
colour, no alphabet, and no scale of 1 to 10. And it's not even a yes or no question. You've given us answers. Right, I think touch is the most obvious one to me, because that's the most it's sort of like VR. That's the next phase of that. I think being able to touch stuff would be cool. Smell, I mean, my smell is still basically non-existent since having COVID, which is a real bummer. Still can't really smell. I can like sometimes sort of smell stuff, but it's not very good. It's a bit shit. But even then, I don't think smell will be that great, because most video games are, deeply violent and bloody. Well, at least the games I play, and it's like zombie games. Let's go back to Days Gone. I do not want to smell that world at all. Rotten corpses all over the place. Get the fuck out of here. But then for a game like Overcooked, the ability to taste would be great, because there's all that food.
Well, for me, it's always a matter of practicality. I'm not sure how they'd pull off the smell or the taste function in a game. The technology that would be required in order to deliver that. I mean, the fact that you've got to taste something, there's got to be hygiene concerns there for sure. I mean, throwing all that aside, I think touch is always going to be the most immersive new addition. I think touch is going to add a lot more than smell or taste could, because touch is I mean, you think about VR, right?
We're not halfway, but we're part way to touch in terms of haptics, like vibration and all that stuff. Which it tries to anyway. That's what it's trying to give you. But I just think touch is the best one, and I don't think. But then again, with touch, would that include all like tactile sensations, so to speak? So if you get shot, would you feel that as if it was a gunshot, or is it just you can feel like textures of stuff? Because I think that would still. I mean, it'd probably suck a lot, because I've never been shot, but I imagine it's pretty fucking painful. But
I mean, you could imagine it working really well in a VR scenario. If you've got a bodysuit, if you're playing a shooting game, you get shot, you feel where it is, or that kind of thing. Or if you're playing a game where you're swinging an axe and there's orcs coming at you with clubs and they hit you with a club, you feel the impact from that direction. You could see how that would integrate really well with a platform like VR.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how smell would add to a game. Maybe it would.
I feel like you have to build a specific game for a smell-based mechanic. Scratch and sniff. Actually, that sounds like something Kojima would do. It'd be like, in the middle of the sequence, like, you need to figure out how to do this, find out the smell, and you'll sit there for ages like, I don't fucking know what the smell is. How do I do it? And then it turns out on the disc, there's an old school scratch and sniff from the 90s and early noughties, and it turns out it smells nothing like what it's supposed to, and probably just smells like cheese, because that's what they all ended up smelling like.
Exactly. Being able to generate the correct smell on a practical level, it's got to be technically very difficult. The taste, again, it's like if you've got an I don't know, something that you just stick in your mouth, and then at certain points when you're playing, you've got a taste in your mouth. And how can they pull it off? Raises a lot of technical questions. So touch is the obvious answer. But thanks, got us thinking at least, Durlock. Firstly, how you got to that from the previous question, and then secondly, what we do with those technologies. Let's move on to the next question. Kona, what happened to the brick wall? And then 2 brick emojis. That's in reference to the fact that my backdrop is now my TV and a desk that's behind me. Used to be a brick wall. Where's that gone? Well, the brick wall's over there. I've just moved my desk over here, because the way my desk was, it was in the middle of the room, because I had the wall as the backdrop, which took up a lot of space. As you can see now, the room is a lot There's a lot more space in the middle of the room now, and it's more efficient. The reason I had it over there to begin with is because we were filming together when I set up the room. So Henry was here in office when we were recording. Now it's not so much. I can do what I want essentially, and hopefully, you know, Henry's moved too. So Henry's moved his room. People rearrange furniture ever so often. It's not that we don't like the brick wall. It's not that we have anything personal against the brick wall. We still like the brick wall. He's still in our thoughts. He's just not as needed as he once was. So hopefully that's a sufficient answer for you, Mr. Kona.
I mean, yeah, that's all it is. It's just we moved. Sorry,
Yeah,
there's not a better answer. Right, we've got one final question, I believe, unless there's been any more, but I'm not going to check because this has gone on long enough anyway. From Metal Shark, will either of you be using the 4-day weekends to play some Outriders? If you any ambitions, builds plans, or will you be walking in fresh? Oh, okay. So have we got any build ideas of the kind of characters we're going to play, or will we be going in fresh and winging it? I've got kind of a busy weekend, so I don't know if I'll actually be playing it, even though it is this bank holiday weekend. And even then, I'm not going to be playing on PC, so I won't. I'm pretty sure you can't transfer progress between accounts. So there is crossplay and stuff, but you can't transfer progress, which is a bit of a pain. So if I do it, I will be doing it on Xbox, so I don't have to pay as much for it because it'll be on Game Pass. So I'll be starting from scratch. But
is it not coming to Game Pass for PC?
Nope. It's coming to PC, but not Game Pass for PC. Game Pass is just the Xbox. Yeah, it's a bit annoying, but I mean, it's coming to Xbox Game Pass. That's still like good. I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Pyromancer was my favourite one out of playing all four, because Pyromancer is kind of like mid-range. In case you haven't played it, you're mid-range, quite aggressive, and use like explosive fire-based magic stuff. There's Technomancer, which was kind of cool. You can set up turrets, which are pretty useful, but I don't know how much I would use any of their other abilities. None of them particularly scratch my itch. Devastator was cool, but rubbish for solo play, because that's your really big, powerful one, but also it's built a bit more for close ranging and fucking bulldozering through people. So if you're on your own, you can get quite easily overwhelmed. The only time I had any sort of trouble in the demo was as that class, so maybe it's just not my playstyle. And then Trickster. Trickster was really cool. That's a very, very quick in and out up close. It's got a lot of melee based attacks and like stasis time freezy ones. So that was pretty cool. I played with one of my mates. We had some really good synergies. He put up like a freezy bubble, like a stasis bubble, and everyone froze. Then I just hit him with my biggest fire Pyromancer attack, and it was awesome. We just fucked him right up. So yeah, I'll probably be Pyromancer. That was my favorite one anyway.
Yeah. I don't have any plans to play it this weekend, because a 4-day weekend is not 4 days off for me. I pretty much I'm always working on content for one thing or another. So and the family and this and that. It's not a case of 4 days, let's play games. It'd be wonderful if that was the case. So I'm not, unfortunately, planning to pick it up on PC day one. We'll see how it launches, and we'll see how the community picks it up from that to see if I end up getting it. But thanks for the question, Mr. Metal Shark. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people already planning to get together on the Discord. So if those of you who are interested in getting together with a couple of others, because you need ideally have 3 people to play with, jump on the Discord and get to the channel, which is looking for a game, and ask if anybody else wants to join you in a game. I'm pretty sure there'll be a bunch of people jumping on, or just for any game in general. That's what our channel is there for on the Discord. Use it if you're looking for a game. And there you have it. That's the questions for this week. Thanks everybody for your submissions. Let's move on to the next segment, which is the Triggered Fanboy Comment of the Week.
Okay, so we've actually got 2 this week, although both of them were from last week, and I'm really annoyed because we had a bit of a hard time finding good ones for last week, and then 2 came at once, like immediately after the podcast. But yeah, we've got 2 this week, so I'll do the less fun one first, because I think this one's just kind of it's a bit moany, but it's not that triggered. The other one I think is better. So yeah. I posted a pinned comment on last week's video, which was about Monster Hunter Rise, I think it was the review roundup one, because you have a dog companion, and I think that's really cool. So I posted a pinned comment. I'll be totally honest, getting a dog companion immediately made me 10 times more interested in this game. Then when making the thumbnail, I learned you could ride it. This changes everything. So that is part of the reason I'm actually kind of tentatively thinking about getting Monster Hunter Rise. I want a dog. That's cool. Then this guy comes in called Brojack Mate. The game sucks. It doesn't even reach 89 Metacritics. Stop shilling so much. Now, it's not like super triggered, but it's a little bit, because he's like, the game sucks. At this point, remember, the game had just come out that day. Perhaps he's played it, on day one. But you can't have played it that much, I don't think, to justify that much of an opinion by the time we drew it, because the reviews came out like a day or so beforehand. It doesn't even reach 89 Metacritics. Not 90. 89. It's currently on 87, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's not 89, so it's not good. It's awful. Every game south of 89 is awful. Now, Metacritic is not, obviously, it's not an arbitrary designation of what's good or bad, but generally speaking, 80 is good. That's really good often. 90 is like outstanding, must play. But 80 is really good, and certainly 87, that's pretty damn great. Stop shilling it so much. How am I shilling? It's information. None of it was my opinions. I was telling you other people's opinions who have played it. It's a review roundup. That's what it's about. Like, I mean, what? And perhaps he's just referring to the comment about me wanting to ride a giant virtual dog called a Palamute. It's not a Malamute, which is sort of like a fluffy husky. It's a Palamute. What more do you want? That's cool. I haven't played the fucking game. I just like dogs, man. Leave me alone.
What is the chances that his short review, 3-word review, the game sucks, is based on entirely upon 0 game hours? That's pretty highly likely. It doesn't even reach it. Doesn't even reach 89. Some of the games that I've played, some of the best games I've played are 7 out of 10 games. Yeah. Like Vampire, State of Decay, Days Gone. 7 out of 9, solid 7 out of 9 games.
They don't blow anything out of the water.
Awesome.
They don't necessarily bring anything new to the table, but they just do what they do really well.
They don't have to. It's not shilling if you're just reading information. So, Brojack Mate, do one.
And the thing is, even if I liked it, or had played it and liked it rather, since when? I mean, I say since when. It's because idiots on the internet don't know what they're talking about. But since when is liking things shilling? Since when is liking dogs? Everyone likes dogs. That makes me a shill for
you're just a people pleaser, Henry. You're just saying what you want people. You think what people want to hear.
I mean,
liking dogs, as if you like dogs. You liar. You're just saying that.
I mean, maybe I'm a fraud. I currently don't have a dog because we live in a flat. There's not really actually. Now is probably, with lockdown and everything, working from home, now is probably the best time to get a dog because neither of us are going to work or anything. But anyway, that's enough.
There is a conspiracy going around that dogs actually initiated or caused the coronavirus pandemic because they're getting so much. Yeah, because they're getting so much more walkies now.
That is true.
Their plot to get people to give them walkies has led them to generate this whole pandemic situation. So, tell me. There's no way to prove that it isn't true.
Yeah, you can't be proven or disproven.
You can't prove it isn't true. You can prove
possible.
You can never prove the negative. There you go.
Right. Anyway, I've got this second one, which I think is a much more qualifying, just needlessly triggered, and it's triggered and fanboy. It's ticks all the boxes. It's perfect. This is, again, from the same video, which I'm pretty sure on the thumbnail, in quotes, it's not my words, it was something like the best Switch game since Breath of the Wild, which is, it's a high praise. I think it's from Eurogamer. This person, Spice Your Life. Clickbait titles, This People Can Go F Themselves. You mean to tell me Animal Coursing, not Crossing, Animal Coursing, that game on... Wait. You mean to tell me Animal Coursing, that game on its own, has reached 33 million units don't count? What about Smash Bros. Ultimate? That's like 29 million units sold. Man, you don't know what you're talking about. Now, the only thing I can perhaps say in this person's defense is that maybe he's not talking about me. Maybe he's just talking to the author of the Eurogamer review. I can't quite remember who it was. But this is so over the top. For starters... As I said, it's not my opinion, it's somebody else's opinion. A very bold one that I pointed out. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking tall praise. So they can go fuck themselves for having that opinion. Okay, fair enough, that's pretty standard internet response. But just because Animal Crossing sold well, and Smash Bros. Ultimate sold very well as well, that doesn't mean it's better than Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter, as I just said, it sold 4 million units in 3 days. That's still very, very, very impressive. And you're comparing it to Animal Crossing's sales, like, to date. It hasn't sold 33 million units in 3 days. It sold 33 million units in about a year, well, assuming that's the most up-to-date number. And Smash Ultimate, I love Smash. I play Smash pretty much every week at some point. And I think, I mean, I don't know if I'd say I like Smash more than Breath of the Wild, because they are fundamentally very different games in the what they do and what I get out of them. But so, I just think it's absurd, this argument. They sold more, so it's better. The game just fucking came out. Chill out. And by the end of its lifetime, Monster Hunter World, which is the most high-selling one, sold, I did have the number, it's either 18.6 or 16.8 million units, which is really impressive. But then, as I mentioned earlier, 5 million in 3 days, but that's on 2 platforms. Monster Hunter Rise did 4 million in 3 days on just 1 platform. So people are on board with it. People like it. So maybe, I mean, you just like Animal Crossing and Smash Bros. That's cool, man. Yeah, that's cool.
This is a Nintendrone at its finest, right? This is a person who's just dedicated to Nintendo-only first-party games and or just hates Monster Hunter for whatever reason. I've looked at the previous comments that this user has commented on our videos in the past. The first 2 start with "fuck these people," da 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 da. And then the second one, "fuck you, hypocrites," da, 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 da. And those were 3 and 4 years ago. There was another Monster Hunter World video we published 3 years ago. And again, they're slamming Monster Hunter World for some reason. And then they come back to our channel today, or a few days ago, with this one. Obviously, they've got a beef with Monster Hunter for some reason, or they just love Nintendo first-party games. I mean, it's just symptomatic of somebody who's blindly following or blindly loves or supporting one certain thing without giving any consideration and just being vile on the internet because of your feelings and thoughts. Like, just get over yourself, man. Nobody cares how you feel. It doesn't make it a clickbait title because you don't agree with it. Like, it's literally a quote from one of the outlets that we've sourced. Yeah. It doesn't mean it's not clickbait at all. This is what was said. We're reporting it. Yeah. People can go fuck themselves. How about you?
That's why I love using. Yeah, fuck yourself. That's it. That's why I like using quotes on titles, because you can get everything you want out of clickbait if it's a good quote. But it's not clickbait at all. Like, it can do the same thing. It can be very, like, energized and provocative often. But I mean, it's not untrue. It's not a falsehood. I never misquote people. It's what someone said that isn't me. So I get to take all the benefits because I didn't say it. It's not my mistake if it is a mistake.
Yeah.
Like, if you're wrong.
When the crux of somebody's argument, like the most poignant part, or the very last part of their contribution is, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, perhaps that their argument isn't holding a lot of weight. Of all the things they could have said to dispute you don't know what you're talking about. Feels a bit cheap.
I mean, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that other people who aren't me like a game that you don't like and probably haven't even played. But yeah, that's my bad.
Deal with it, shitbag.
Although on a similar note, it's not actually a Triggered Fanboy, but it's talking about them and part of it. This is from last week's podcast, and this person, Cinnamon Green, hits the nail on the head. I think he may be new around here. Wow, the Triggered Fanboy is so angry he can't string sentences together. That is a defining characteristic of the Triggered Fanboy, my friend. If you are an intelligent and articulate individual, you will never be the Triggered Fanboy. You can never quite make it right.
Guys.
You've got to be able to just word vomit onto the screen with some bullshit opinion that you've probably not even thought through, and then you leave. You never come back, and that's just the end of it.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, that'll be a warning to people who maybe have grand ambitions, one day maybe become a Triggered Fanboy. Unfortunately, if your IQ is above a certain level, by default, you're not going to be able to achieve that. So maybe reassess your aims in life and move on.
So type out your hatred. And you know, think about what you're going to say, and then just smash the keyboard on your head. That's basically all you need to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the more keys fly out, the better.
Yeah, act crazily. Yeah. So let's move on. Should we do some other comments, non-triggered?
Yeah, I've only got a couple, but yeah, let's find some other ones.
Well, the one that I've got is Johnny Yates from last week's podcast. And this is an interesting one. Great podcast as usual. Just thought I'd send you a shameful gaming story from last week. So I think this was in response to when we had the confession of the week, didn't we? Like a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, he confessed that he bought microtransactions for Valhalla, and it's disgusting. He tried to throw his ancestors' heritage under the bus to do it. It's like, oh, I've got Viking ancestors. I want to look like them. Fuck yourself. You're a disgrace.
So in response to that, Johnny Yates comes in with, I'm a PS fanboy, with a B-O-I, PS fanboy. Love all the exclusives and have been looking for PS5 since launch. Not touching those filthy scalped C***TS, though. Just want to play the Demon Souls remake as it's one of my all-time favourite games. Anyway, doing a weekly scour for one, and the new Xbox Series X pops up on Smith's in stock, while their Ultimate Game Pass bundle thing for 28 quid a month. I must have entered a trance or something, as 5 minutes later it's ordered and confirmed. I feel like a filthy sellout and can't look at my PS4 Pro without feeling disgrace. Is Game Pass really that good? Have I made the right decision? All I can think about now is terafloppage. Cry smiley emoji face. Take care, guys. Hope your new setup breaks the YouTube barrier. Johnny. Thanks for that contribution, Johnny.
I like that a lot. I like that.
Beautiful comment.
It's. I mean, there are phrased in a different way. There are components there to be a triggered fanboy, but he's not. He's kind of a repentful fanboy. He's cucking his PS4 with this new Xbox Series X, man. I mean, yeah. You've made the step to buying what you like rather than just buying a brand. If the Xbox was a good deal and you like Game Pass, because we talk about Game Pass all the time, then you'll be happy instead of just buying the PS5 because it's the PS5. This is a good step to getting out of. I feel like we're in a fucking AA meeting now.
No,
this is the step right. to cleansing yourself of this.
It's breaking away from that dependence.
Yeah.
Breaking away from that dependence. You need the PlayStation. You need the PlayStation. Like, I don't care how good everything else is. I need that PlayStation. But what else? Like, this is the first step. Acknowledging, firstly, that you're a fanboy of PlayStation. That's the first step. Is admitting to yourself the problem, and then moving away from PlayStation by buying yourself an Xbox Series X. That's 2 steps towards the light, my friend. You don't have to turn back. You know, if you can help it, I wouldn't buy that PS5 because that might, send you back onto the wrong path. Just maybe try a PC next, and then you've got everything. and then actually you'll have completed your transformation, and you'd have seen the light. You'd have reached the promised land, the holy land, and you won't need anymore to be a fanboy of these consoles, and you won't have to be allied with these big evil corporations anymore. Yeah, you'll have this open platform and be able to do with what you want. But thanks, Johnny.
Feel like we need to quickly clarify that this is like quitting cigarettes and then moving on to alcohol to supplement that addiction. You can't now get addicted to Microsoft. You need to stay strong. You can do it. You've stopped once. You can keep it there. You can have the Xbox and then not have to go out and get the next Xbox thing. We believe in you. You can be an independent person who buys what you like instead of what you need.
Yeah, we're here to support you, dude. So if ever you feel a wobble and you feel like you're gonna step back into the dark path, we're always here for you to support you, and
we'll support you so long as you're not buying microtransactions. Otherwise, we'll yell at you like that.
We'll just disown
other
you.
chap. Yeah.
We'll start throwing insults at you then.
Right. Well. So next up, I've got one from Blue Knight, who is a regular commenter, and this is linking back to the introduction with paper cuts on your nipples. So that was about cheaters in supposedly the biggest cheating bust ever was just done in China. It was believed to be the biggest. That's not like a fact, but it's believed to be just because of the sheer amount of money involved. They were raking in like $75 million, and then the police seized like 46 or something million just from the site, and a bunch of fancy sports cars and stuff. It was brilliant. Watch the video. That will just tell you everything. And I suggested cheaters need to be punished somewhere between like being flogged in the streets, which is quite brutal, and then something kind of tame like a fine. So I said paper cuts on the nipples, because it's gonna hurt a lot, but you're not gonna have any real damage. You're gonna be okay, after a little while. But this Blue Knight actually has a reasonable suggestion, which I think is quite good. How should cheat makers and cheaters get punished? Well, since they did a disservice to a community, they should make it up to a community. All money should be given to charity, and the total hours of cheats used for all users should be calculated. Take that time and make these people do that amount of community service. If it's an exorbitant amount, good word, then divide the time among all involved. Since they ruined the gaming community, they can at least do better to their own community. It would make the world a better place. I really like that answer. It's much more positive than my angle, which was just fucking hurt the bitches. This is much more constructive. Yeah, this is good. I mean, it could just do any community. It doesn't have to be a gaming community thing. I imagine that's kind of what you're getting at. Just little litter picking or scraping graffiti or something like easy stuff that you can make the world nicer and better and stop ruining online video games for people. Yeah,
exactly. At least. Go part of the way to making it up to the people who you've harmed, because you do a lot of damage to a community by putting cheats in games and that. Like, people hate that. People turns off people from playing, and it damages the whole community. So actually giving something back, actually contributing, making up for what you're not just being punished and then being made to sit down in a corner because you've been told you're a naughty boy, actually contributing in a positive way that will help the community is always preferable in my. So it's however that manifests, whether it is picking litter or going or being a community spokesperson and contributing positively in the chat and making sure that people don't cuss out other people and things like that. That's a way to community management. Like, do some community service in online community management. That would be that'll teach you. That'll teach you, and it contributes to. I feel like
these kids after this reformation program are going to be like, when you're at school and they have someone come in, it's like, I used to be an alcoholic because I had one drink when I was 14, to trying to shame kids into not drinking. Like, but now it destroyed my life. My wife left me. My kids hate me. But now I'm good. I haven't had a drink in 6 months. I'm a constructive member of society now. Get them to do these little shitty lessons.
These talks, yeah.
I loved those talks. They were great. Not because you learned anything, but because it got you out of a lesson. That was great fun.
There you go. I think I've got one more comment. And this is about our podcast. Michael Villis comments, I know you have split your podcast off to another channel, but you might want to be a bit more explicit to the point of people who missed the announcement but still watch the dailies, like having a link or card or text in the end credits or up at the top of the video description, at least for a little while. Sometimes people miss the weekly podcast every few weeks. Yeah, that's a good observation. I think the idea is that we do promote a little bit more on the main channel, and to hopefully we'll be publishing excerpts from the podcast to the main channel, which will by nature promote the podcast on the other channel. But,
I actually was thinking about doing it this week, but I sort of half deliberately didn't, because I wanted something more on, like, a new thing to the podcast to go, like, oh, the podcast is now out, go and do it now, instead of just having to go there and kind of get nothing out of it, if that makes sense. Get the ball rolling a bit more before I start putting it in triples and stuff. At least that was my thinking.
Makes sense. Yeah, exactly. There was no point, because last week's podcast was on the main channel anyway, so there's no point promoting the second channel when it wasn't on the second channel. So from now on, if a feature does pop up that would be good for an excerpt, we'll throw it on the main channel, and then people can be diverted to the podcast on the other channel if they want more. But the suggestion to put link in the description of the videos is a good one. I think we should do that too. just for people. I think I'll put it on the channel description too for people who just happen across the description, see, oh, they've got another channel, let's go there. Because I think we got 254 subscribers. Hang on, let me have a look. Switch account. So for those of you who subscribe, 255 have had one subscriber today already.
I think actually, that was me on my personal account.
We've gained more subscribers on our podcast channel. We've had a more net positive result on subscribers on the main podcast channel as the other main channel, because we're just gradually declining in subscribers on the main channel. So at least we've got a channel that's in the positive, in the green, in the blue, green, not the blue.
Now.
For now, we'll see how long it takes before we start hemorrhaging subscribers on that channel too.
Well, I've got two more comments. One's, I'll save the positive one just for the end. But this is my favourite comment of the week. It is from a video about Call of Duty, supposedly, according to leaks, going back to World War II again. A huge, it's a real big innovation. Never done that before. But hey. So this one is from Juice, and I love that it's completely without context and could be about literally anything. And it just says, no! That's it. I mean, it could be about anything in the world on this video. Like, what else? What were the other stories in this one? So, Call of Duty goes back to World War II. Okay, maybe he doesn't want it to go back to World War II. Maybe he just doesn't like Call of Duty, perhaps. Ghost of Tsushima movie. I mean, I don't know how that could make you angry. Maybe he just hates Ghost of Tsushima. And then the other one is Monster Hunter Rise sells 4 million. Maybe it's an alt account for the other guy who just hates Monster Hunter and he's really frustrated that it's doing well in sales. I don't know. But that was my favourite one of the week. It's simple and you have no idea what's going on. But then my final one, which is just a nice one, and I might make this a double bill because there's two quite close together. This is from, I think it's Monday's video, which was Cyberpunk 3 DLC leaked, and then some other stuff. First one from Biomechanable. Love your show. Thank you very much. And then the other one is from, oh golly, that's Jurian De Jong. I think that's how you pronounce it. And just said, cheers, lads. So two appreciative comments to finish up, which I think were just nice. So thank you very much. I like seeing the positive ones. We deal with a lot of the negative ones and talk about them and make fun of them, but we neglect the positive ones sometimes, so it's always good to point them out. Absolutely. Thanks everybody for your comments this week, and whenever, all your engagement helps. If you want to, leave your comments. There'll be less comments for next week because the channel has less subscribers, so I'm expecting a lot less people to watch the podcast. So, obviously comment on the other. I'm getting confused a little bit here. Yeah, comment on the other videos. They're still on the main channel. You still get to see them. Let's move on to the very last segment of this podcast, which is the bad dad joke of the week. This is a contribution from Dayoth, and it goes as follows. Tried scheduling an appointment with my Indian dentist, and the receptionist says he left the practice to become a professional storm chaser. And I reply, Windy dude hat. Windy dude hat. Is that politically correct? Can we read that one? Is that troublesome? I think that's now. What's the word they like to use? Problematic. I don't think it's problematic. I think that's pretty fine. Okay. Windy do hat. I completely ruined the. You did butcher it, but you know. I butchered it because I wasn't sure whether. Should we do another one? Yeah. Marcus Hicks. Yeah. Marcus Hicks. What happened when the Pope went to Mount Olive? What happened? Popeye tried to beat the snot out of him. Marcus, I mean, we appreciate your contributions. Got one from Cloney here. Why is Spider-Man so good at comebacks? With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, nice. I heard that one before, but it's classic. Anytime there's an actual play on the on a word like that, that's a gold 10 out of 10 pun. Gold 10 out of 10. Thanks everybody for your dad jokes that you've posted this week. If you want to post your own dad joke, head over to the Bad Dad Joke channel on the Discord, which you can get access to if you're a Patreon member or a YouTube channel member. Head to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and sign up for as little as $1 a month. You can get access to the Discord as well as early access to the podcast, or you can just join the main channel YouTube memberships and you get access to both of those things too.
So that's it. Thanks for watching the podcast this week. Nothing left to do but say, on behalf of Henry and myself, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.